Have you ever wondered if traveling after 70 is still a good idea? You might think that after years of dreaming about new destinations and experiences, nothing should stop you from exploring the world. But before you pack your bags, there's something important you need to know. Traveling after 70 comes with unique risks that many seniors overlook. These risks aren't just about being tired or facing the occasional inconvenience. They can seriously affect your health, your finances, and even your peace of mind. In this video, we'll break down the 5 crucial reasons why traveling after 70 can be more dangerous than you might expect. From increased health risks, such as medical emergencies and exposure to infections, to the hidden financial pitfalls that could drain your savings, we'll cover everything you need to know to make an informed decision about your travel plans. By the end of this video, you'll understand why extra caution is needed at this stage of life, and we'll give you practical tips to stay safe if you decide to go ahead with your trip. You won't want to miss the last reason on our list. It's something most seniors never think about, but it's one of the most common ways people lose money, time, and peace of mind while traveling. Stick with me until the end, and you'll be equipped with the knowledge you need to avoid costly mistakes and stay safe. This isn't just about preventing accidents. It's about ensuring that your travel experiences are truly memorable for all the right reasons. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Increased health risks and medical emergencies. As we grow older, life has a way of teaching us just how fragile our health can become, especially when we step outside the comfort of our familiar surroundings. The thought of traveling after the age of 70 is exciting, but with that excitement comes an undeniable concern: our health. As our bodies age, they become less predictable, and seemingly harmless conditions, like high blood pressure, heart disease, or respiratory issues, can escalate into sudden, life-threatening emergencies at the most inconvenient and unexpected moments. The reality is that traveling at this age introduces risks that we can't simply ignore or push aside. When we're at home, we take for granted the ease of accessing medical care. If something goes wrong, we can usually get the attention of a doctor or visit an emergency room in no time. But when you're traveling, particularly to an unfamiliar location or even to a foreign country, accessing timely and proper treatment can become a nightmare. A minor health issue that might have been easily treated at home can suddenly transform into a frightening and serious emergency when you're miles away from the familiar faces of your trusted healthcare providers. This realization hits home when you consider how overwhelming it can be to navigate a foreign healthcare system in the middle of a medical crisis, and sometimes there's no one to help you but yourself. For many seniors, this is not just a distant fear, it's a lived reality. Take long flights, for example. The risk of developing blood clots, a condition known as deep vein thrombosis, DVT, becomes more pronounced with age, especially during long periods of immobility. As if that weren't enough, high altitudes can place a heavy strain on the heart and lungs, even for those who have otherwise managed their conditions well. These are just the physical risks, but the emotional weight of being in a situation where you're not sure if you'll be okay is something no one should have to endure. Even the simplest of things, like dehydration or heat exhaustion, can hit far harder when you're in an unfamiliar climate or time zone, leaving you feeling weak, vulnerable, and far from home. And let's not overlook the increased susceptibility to infections as we age. With a weakened immune system, exposure to new bacteria, viruses, and environmental factors in different places can lead to unexpected illnesses that can quickly derail a trip and put your health in jeopardy. Consider the story of James, a 74-year-old man with a deep love for travel, who had spent years looking forward to a peaceful 2-week cruise with his wife. What he envisioned as a carefree trip soon turned into a nightmare. On the 4th day, James began experiencing excruciating chest pain. The medical team on board provided basic care, but it wasn't enough. They were still miles away from the nearest hospital. As he waited for emergency evacuation, every minute felt like an eternity. Hours passed before he was finally treated, and while he was fortunate enough to survive, the experience left him with more than just physical scars. It left a lingering fear that will forever change the way he looks at travel. Medical insurance, or the lack of it, adds another layer of stress. Many seniors believe their regular health coverage will be sufficient no matter where they go, only to be blindsided when they discover, too late, that they're not covered outside their home country. Imagine needing urgent medical attention, only to realize that a simple emergency could result in thousands of dollars of medical bills because your insurance doesn't cover you abroad. Without the proper travel insurance, those medical expenses can skyrocket. Even a simple hospital visit, a prescription refill, or emergency surgery could send you into financial ruin. The peace of mind that should come with traveling is often replaced by the sinking feeling of knowing you might be financially crushed if something goes wrong. So, what can you do if you're over 70 and dreaming of travel? First and foremost, never underestimate the importance of consulting your doctor before any trip. A thorough health assessment is crucial. Talk to your physician about any potential risks that could arise during your travels, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. Ensure that you're carrying all necessary medications, and don't forget to plan for refills if needed. Research the healthcare system in your destination. Know where the nearest hospital or clinic is and understand what your options are in an emergency. If you're traveling abroad, it's essential to secure comprehensive travel insurance that covers emergency evacuations, hospital stays, and medical treatments. Trust me when I say that the cost of this extra layer of security is far less than the potential cost of an unexpected health crisis. When it comes to health, preparation is key. It can be the difference between a smooth and relaxing journey and an unimaginable ordeal. Yes, traveling after 70 can be incredibly rewarding. It opens doors to new experiences and memories. But let's not pretend that health risks aren't a major factor. They are, and we need to respect them. If we can learn to travel smartly, by taking precautions, staying informed, and ensuring we're properly insured, we can continue to explore the world without letting the fear of health emergencies hold us back. But the key, as always, is preparation and self-awareness. Number 2. Increased exposure to infections and contaminants. As we age, one of the most important things to consider, yet often overlooked, when traveling after 70 is the increased exposure to infections, viruses, and foodborne illnesses. It's easy to get excited about the prospect of seeing new places and meeting new people, but this excitement can sometimes cloud the very real dangers that come with being around so many unfamiliar environments. Whether it's crowded airports, jam-packed airplanes, bustling public transportation systems, or foreign restaurants, all of these places create an environment where germs, bacteria, and viruses thrive. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. For younger, healthier travelers, a simple cold or stomach bug might be nothing more than a minor inconvenience. Maybe an annoying couple of days spent sniffling, but nothing more. But for seniors, these seemingly small infections can snowball into much more serious problems. What might just cause a bit of discomfort for a younger person could lead to hospitalization, long-term health issues, or even a life-threatening situation for someone over 70. Just one trip can expose an older adult to more germs than they'd typically encounter in months of staying at home. And the sad truth is, our immune systems aren't as strong as they used to be. As we age, our bodies naturally become less resilient. Our immune system starts to weaken, and it becomes more difficult to recover from infections. Respiratory illnesses are one of the most dangerous risks for older adults, and research has shown that seniors are much more likely to develop complications from even the flu or a common cold. What might be a short-lived inconvenience for a younger person can develop into something far more serious for someone older. Traveling, especially internationally, exposes our weakened immune systems to new strains of viruses and bacteria we've never encountered before, and sometimes our bodies just can't keep up with the onslaught. Airplanes are some of the worst culprits in terms of spreading germs. It's honestly staggering how often we overlook the fact that, On a plane, passengers are crammed together in tight spaces, breathing in the same recycled air for hours on end. You're essentially trapped in a moving petri dish, surrounded by people from all over the world, and it's very easy to pick up viruses that your body has never seen before. This is not to mention the crowded airports we pass through before we even get on the plane, where you're exposed to thousands of germs all at once. Food and water safety is another major concern that can't be ignored. Traveling often means embracing new cuisines and trying things you'd never find at home, and while the experience can be thrilling, it can also be dangerous, especially for seniors. For older adults, unfamiliar spices, ingredients, and cooking methods can easily upset the stomach or lead to something much worse. Foodborne illnesses such as norovirus, salmonella, and E. coli hit older adults far harder than they do younger travelers. What might result in a mild stomach ache for a younger person can quickly spiral into severe dehydration and an exhausted immune system for someone older. Waterborne illnesses are just as much of a concern. Many locals in other parts of the world have built up immunity to the bacteria in their local water supply, but as travelers, we don't have that same protection. It only takes something as simple as drinking tap water or eating a salad washed in untreated water to fall victim to a stomach infection that could sideline you for days. We often think of hotels, rental cars, or public restrooms as being clean just because they look tidy, but the truth is, these places are prime locations for germs to linger. Door handles, elevator buttons, tray tables. These are all places that rarely get disinfected properly, and they're touched by dozens, sometimes hundreds, of people every day. And for seniors who rely on mobility aids like canes or walkers, the risk only increases. These individuals often have to touch surfaces for balance and stability, further exposing them to potential germs that they would otherwise avoid. Traveling while elderly requires even more caution, and it's easy to see why. So, how can older adults protect themselves from these risks? First and foremost, if travel is unavoidable, it's crucial to take extra precautions. It's a good idea to wear a mask in crowded areas, wash your hands frequently, and keep hand sanitizer on hand at all times. Protecting yourself from germs is just as important as the journey itself. Only drinking bottled or filtered water, steering clear of raw or undercooked foods, and sticking to meals that are thoroughly cooked can go a long way in preventing foodborne illnesses. Taking these precautions is essential. For those traveling internationally, it's vital to get all the recommended vaccines for the area you'll be visiting, and always carry medications that can help with common issues such as stomach problems or respiratory infections. Keeping a health kit handy with the essentials can make all the difference if you find yourself in a less than ideal situation. With vigilance and preparation, staying healthy while traveling is possible, but it requires effort. A strong immune system, healthy habits, and careful planning can help you fend off the risks. But even then, it's clear that the health challenges don't stop at the physical dangers. Traveling after 70 should be a rewarding experience, but it's essential to approach it with a mindset that your health needs to be your top priority. With every decision, every precaution, and every step you take, remember that your health is precious, and no amount of adventure is worth compromising. Take care of yourself, and the world will still be there for you to explore, just a little more thoughtfully and with a little more care. Number 3. Travel fatigue and recovery challenges. Traveling may seem like an exciting adventure, filled with new experiences and the joy of discovery, but for seniors over 70, the physical toll of it can be far greater than most people realize. It's easy to romanticize the idea of jet setting, but the reality is that long flights, early check-ins, unpredictable schedules, and endless hours of walking can leave even the most spirited individuals feeling utterly drained. And when it comes to recovering from this exhaustion, it becomes an entirely different battle. Unlike the days of youth, when a good night's sleep was enough to restore energy, older adults often find that the weariness lingers far longer, sometimes for days or even weeks, leaving them feeling far from rejuvenated. The strain that travel places on the body doesn't just leave you tired. It impacts nearly every aspect of your health. When the body is exhausted, everything else starts to suffer. The immune system weakens, making you more susceptible to illness. coordination becomes compromised, leaving you vulnerable to falls or accidents. And let's not forget the increasing risk of injury, which looms larger when you're physically depleted. Among the most significant issues seniors face while traveling is disrupted sleep. For many, sleeping in an unfamiliar bed, listening to the hum of noisy hotels, or adjusting to different time zones can make achieving any meaningful rest seem impossible. The toll of sleep deprivation is more than just the grogginess we feel when we can't get a good night's sleep. For seniors, the consequences are much deeper and more concerning. Sleep deprivation robs us of mental clarity, and over time, it weakens the immune system and can even increase the risk of heart problems. Research has shown that older adults, particularly those who travel across multiple time zones, take longer to adjust to new schedules, making jet lag a prolonged and frustrating ordeal. For many, this exhaustion extends far beyond the end of the trip. The feeling of being drained doesn't simply fade after a day of rest. It lingers, turning what should have been a delightful experience into a cloud of fatigue that follows you home. And then there's the physical strain that comes with travel. Sitting for long periods on a plane, bus, or train may seem harmless at first, but it can quickly lead to stiff muscles, swollen joints, and a much higher risk of developing blood clots. For seniors who suffer from arthritis or circulation issues, these effects can be even more pronounced, causing discomfort that doesn't fade as easily as it used to. But it's not just the long hours on the plane that take their toll. It's the constant physical demands once you arrive at your destination. Sightseeing, carrying luggage, and trying to keep up with a packed schedule can leave you feeling like you've run a marathon, only to realize you're miles away from home and still have days left of the trip. What was supposed to be an exciting vacation can quickly turn into a struggle to keep up with everything. Take, for example, Richard, a 75-year-old man who had always relished the idea of travel. After retiring, he and his wife planned a 2-week vacation overseas, eagerly anticipating the joy of exploring new places. They assumed it would be as enjoyable as their trips in earlier years. But after a grueling 10-hour flight, navigating a crowded airport, and adjusting to a 6-hour time difference, Richard found himself feeling utterly exhausted before the trip had even really started. By the second day, his body was already giving out. Walking long distances became a struggle, staying alert during tours was an uphill battle, and he found himself needing frequent breaks just to keep going. By the time his body finally adjusted, the vacation was nearly over, and he spent the following weeks recovering instead of cherishing the memories he should have made. The trip he had envisioned as a chance for new experiences had instead turned into a painful reminder of how much his body had changed over time. Another challenge that often goes overlooked is the struggle to maintain a normal diet and hydration levels while traveling. Many destinations present unfamiliar foods that can cause digestive issues, and staying hydrated, especially when on the go, is something that often falls by the wayside. The consequences of dehydration can't be overstated. Fatigue, dizziness, and confusion are just a few of the issues that arise when we don't give our bodies the water they need. When combined with poor sleep and physical strain, it's no wonder so many seniors find themselves feeling worse after a trip rather than revitalized. So, what's the solution to all of this? While travel is often an unavoidable part of life, seniors need to approach it with more caution and consideration than they may have in their younger years. It's essential to plan for plenty of rest days, stay hydrated, and avoid the temptation to overschedule with back-to-back activities. Choosing shorter flights with layovers allows you to stretch your legs and move around, helping to alleviate some of the physical discomfort. Packing nutritious snacks can help keep energy levels up, and carving out time for naps can do wonders for your recovery. Most importantly, recognizing personal limits is crucial. Travel should be something that brings joy and fulfillment, not something that leaves you feeling like you've just been through a grueling battle. Adjusting your travel plans to meet your needs ensures that the experience is positive and restorative, rather than exhausting and draining. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The reality of travel's physical toll is something that shouldn't be underestimated. While it's certainly possible to enjoy the excitement of exploring new destinations, it's important to be mindful of your body's needs and limitations. Aging doesn't mean giving up on travel, but it does require a shift in mindset. Travel can still be a beautiful, enriching experience, one that brings joy and growth. However, it's essential to approach it with wisdom, self-awareness, and the understanding that taking care of yourself is the most important part of the journey. Number 4. Higher risk of falls and injuries. As we age, there are many exciting adventures we long to embark on. New places to explore, different cultures to experience, and memories to create. However, one of the harsh realities of traveling after the age of 70 is the significantly higher risk of falls and injuries. Our bodies, as much as we wish they could stay as strong and resilient as they once were, go through inevitable changes. Our balance, reflexes, and bone density naturally decline, which, while part of the aging process, makes us much more susceptible to accidents. A minor stumble in the comfort and familiarity of your own home might not seem like a serious issue, but a fall while traveling, especially in a foreign, unfamiliar place, can be life-altering. Imagine being hundreds of miles away from the support of family, friends, and your trusted healthcare providers when a fall happens. What could start as a minor misstep can quickly escalate into a fractured bone, a lengthy hospital stay, or worse, a permanent loss of mobility. In my own life, I've seen how a fall can disrupt not only the immediate moment but also the entire trajectory of one's future. A single fall, especially for seniors, can shatter plans and hopes, turning what was meant to be a joyful getaway into a painful, costly ordeal that changes everything. Many seniors, perhaps like yourself, may not fully grasp the risks associated with different travel environments compared to the safety and comfort of their everyday surroundings. Hotels, cruise ships, and even historical sites, places we think of as inviting and fun, often feature uneven floors, poorly lit staircases, and slippery surfaces. These seemingly innocuous hazards make falling much more likely, especially if your reflexes aren't as sharp as they once were. And it's not just the built-in risks of these places. Sometimes, there's a lack of basic accessibility accommodations, making simple actions like stepping onto a bus or walking over cobblestone streets far more dangerous than they need to be. A casual walk that might be taken for granted in your hometown could turn into a treacherous ordeal in some parts of the world, and the consequences can be devastating. And then, of course, there's the issue of medical care. In many destinations, especially those far from home, emergency medical services aren't as prompt or advanced as we might expect in our own countries. This means that even a minor injury, when left untreated or treated with less than optimal care, could snowball into something far worse. Take Linda, for example, a sprightly 78-year-old who was as fit as a fiddle for her age. She'd always dreamed of visiting Europe, and she had meticulously planned her trip, excited for all the sights and adventures. She felt confident, having walked miles around her neighborhood without issue, but once she set foot in Italy, she realized the landscape was much more difficult to navigate than she had imagined. The cobbled streets, the steep inclines. She wasn't prepared for the physical challenge of these historic cities. Then one fateful evening, as she stepped off a curb in a poorly lit alley, she lost her footing and fell, breaking her hip. She was rushed to a local hospital, where she was told that surgery was necessary. That dream vacation turned into a nightmare, as she not only had to cut her trip short but also endured months of painful recovery back home. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime, and it ended up being an experience that Linda wished she had never had. But there's something else that adds to the risk: fatigue. Traveling is often filled with long days, irregular meal times, and disrupted sleep patterns, all of which can throw off our balance and coordination. When you're exhausted, your body doesn't react as quickly, and your mind doesn't focus as sharply. In that moment of tiredness, a simple misstep becomes far more likely. For seniors dealing with arthritis or joint pain, the endless walking through airports, crowded tourist sites, or long train rides can quickly lead to swelling and discomfort, making the risk of a fall even higher. It's as if the body simply gives out when pushed too far, and that is when the unthinkable happens. So, What can we do to mitigate these risks? If you must travel, choose destinations that offer good accessibility. Look for places where the terrain is less risky, and make sure to steer clear of areas that are difficult to navigate. Choose accommodations that cater to seniors, with easy access to transportation and proper walkways. And of course, proper footwear is non-negotiable. Shoes with good support can make all the difference in the world. Walking sticks, supportive shoes, and making sure you're well rested before setting out for a day of sightseeing are simple, yet crucial, steps that can reduce the chance of an accident. Above all, though, is the most important piece of advice I can give: recognize your limitations. Aging gracefully doesn't mean pushing yourself beyond your limits just to fulfill a bucket list item. No trip is worth sacrificing your long-term mobility and independence. We must remember that our health and safety come first, and that sometimes the best way to enjoy life's journeys is to simply slow down, take fewer risks, and appreciate the beauty of what we can handle now, without putting ourselves in harm's way. The world will always be there for us to explore, but we must prioritize our well-being so we can continue enjoying it for many years to come. Number 5. Travel insurance and financial risk. When we think of the challenges of traveling after 70, the first thing that comes to mind might be health risks. Things like falls, accidents, or even chronic conditions flaring up in an unfamiliar place. But as I've come to realize through experience and reflection, one of the most overlooked and devastating dangers is the financial risks associated with travel. Many seniors assume that their existing health insurance or personal savings will shield them if something goes wrong while they're on a trip. They think they'll just be able to manage it with their credit cards or by relying on whatever backup funds they've set aside. But the truth is far harsher than that. Imagine you've planned your dream vacation. You've worked hard, saved up, and have all the anticipation of a wonderful time away. Then, without warning, something goes wrong. Maybe you get sick, suffer an accident, or even face a sudden trip cancellation. Now, instead of enjoying your time, you're drowning in unexpected expenses that drain your savings, leaving you feeling helpless and defeated. It's heartbreaking how quickly a joyful trip can turn into a financial nightmare. One of the biggest and most frightening financial risks seniors face while traveling is the lack of adequate medical coverage abroad. So many of us think our regular health insurance will cover us, but that's often not the case. What happens when you need emergency medical care in another country? Suddenly, those savings you've worked so hard to build up for retirement could vanish in the blink of an eye. Even in countries where healthcare is more affordable than back home, you can still find yourself paying out of pocket for costly treatments. Emergency medical evacuations, in particular, can cost tens of thousands of dollars, leaving you with no option but to either go without care or incur a crushing debt that will haunt you for years. This is where travel insurance becomes more than just a good idea. It's essential. Without it, seniors can find themselves caught in the nightmarish position of either paying exorbitant amounts for medical care or, worse, not getting the necessary treatment at all. And it's not just medical emergencies that seniors need to worry about. Trip cancellations can hit hard too. Many of us book our trips months in advance, thinking we have plenty of time to prepare. But life is unpredictable. Health problems can arise out of nowhere, or a family emergency might force you to cancel your plans. And if you're not prepared, you could lose the entire cost of your trip, sometimes in the thousands, with no way to recover that money. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I've heard countless heartbreaking stories of seniors who, due to unforeseen health issues, had to cancel their vacation plans, only to be told by airlines, hotels, and cruise lines that they're not entitled to a refund. These companies often have strict policies, leaving little room for sympathy or flexibility. With no trip insurance in place, the loss is permanent. It's a blow that can leave people financially and emotionally devastated. This kind of situation can feel like a gut punch, especially when you've invested so much time and energy into planning a trip that was supposed to bring joy and fulfillment in your later years. Then, there's the even darker side of travel: scams and fraud. The The sad reality is that older adults are often targeted by unscrupulous people who prey on their trust. It's astonishing how quickly a scam can unfold, especially when you're unfamiliar with your surroundings. Whether it's being overcharged for goods or services, falling for fake taxi services, or even having your credit card information stolen, the potential for financial loss is enormous. The worst part is that many scammers specifically target seniors, knowing that older individuals may not have the same familiarity with modern scams or may feel too embarrassed to report them. Consider, for example, the story of George, a 76-year-old man who had meticulously planned for his dream vacation. George had been careful with his money, saving up for this trip, and making sure to check all the details. But when he arrived at his destination, he found that the hotel he'd booked didn't even exist. He had fallen victim to an online scam, and by the time he figured it out, his money was gone. He had no choice but to scramble, finding a new place to stay at a much higher cost. What should have been a peaceful, relaxing trip turned into a stressful, financial mess that followed him home, leaving him emotionally drained and financially devastated. It's a painful reminder that scams like this are not just about losing money. They rob us of our peace of mind, our sense of security, and sometimes even our trust in the world around us. So, what can we do to protect ourselves as seniors traveling in today's world? First and foremost, always double-check with your health insurance to ensure that it covers international travel. If it doesn't, do not hesitate to invest in solid travel insurance that includes medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and the potential for lost luggage or stolen belongings. Secondly, when booking any part of your trip, whether it's the flight, hotel, or car rental, make sure you're using reputable companies. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Trust your gut. And third, never forget to be vigilant with your finances while on the road. Avoid carrying large sums of cash, be cautious with your credit card information, and be wary of anyone who asks for your details, especially in unfamiliar places. At the end of the day, travel can be one of the most enriching experiences of our lives, but it's not without its risks, particularly for seniors. While we may feel the yearning to explore and experience new places, we also have to recognize that the risks, both health-related and financial, are greater than they've ever been before. But does this mean we should stop traveling altogether? Not. It simply means that as we grow older, we need to approach travel with more care, more caution, and more awareness than we did in our younger years. The key is to plan smarter, travel safer, and choose options that protect both our bodies and our finances. Travel should be a source of joy and enrichment, not stress and regret. And with the right precautions in place, it absolutely can be. Final thoughts. Traveling after 70 brings a host of joys, yes, but it also brings new challenges. From unexpected health emergencies to the potential financial fallout from scams, cancellations, and medical bills, it's clear that a senior's approach to travel must be thoughtful and strategic. While it can still be a thrilling way to experience the world, the risks are not something to be taken lightly. With proper planning, protection, and awareness, seniors can continue to enjoy the wonders of travel without the crushing burden of financial setbacks. The key is to travel wisely, not recklessly. Remember, there is no greater gift than safeguarding your peace of mind while exploring new horizons. As we wrap up today's video, I want to take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered so far. We've explored the financial risks that come with traveling after 70, from medical emergencies to scams and trip cancellations. I hope you've gained some valuable insights on how to protect yourself and plan smarter for your travels. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that you'll bring into your own life? How will you approach travel differently after watching this video? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, travel wisely and stay safe.